After the FA Cup weekend, the Premier League is back. We take on Brentford at the London Stadium. This is the big match preview. Dan joining me tonight. And the question is, should Ferguson come straight into the starting 11? How you doing, my man?
Yes, mate. Very good, Cole. I ain't seen you in about an hour. Since we all got together, had a little pint at the Roundhouse.
It was quite nice, wasn't it? Little team meeting, little pint, game of darts.
Doubles.
Yes.
Yeah,
We narrowly lost, mate. Narrowly
lost to Nicky and Ryan. Yeah. But yeah, mate. Like, obviously, look, we've had a little bit of a break, which has been nice and needed. Try and get some players back, and now, I'm looking forward to this one. And like I said, we've got a new striker.
This is it. Like you said, the plus side of being out of the FA Cup, and as we know, you and me, I think you're both quite big advocates of the FA Cup, and that we should be challenging for it. But the plus side of being out is that we've had that opportunity to get the players back fit. Another week and a bit that Potter's had to work with them without having to worry about a match day in between. And as the title says, Ferguson, new striker, something we've been crying out for, hasn't had a lot of game time at Brighton because of injuries. Obviously, Bowen returning last week with a fantastic goal. It was a great finish against Chelsea. It was good to see him back. That was a massive, massive boost. But does Ferguson come straight in and displace him? What do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I think Matt in the chat said, like, if he's 100%, if he's fit, he should start. I believe he is fit. He did play a part in Brighton's the last game they played before they sold him.
Yeah.
So looking into it, I think if he is fit enough, which it seems he is, I would start him because I think it allows us then to look at playing other players in their stronger positions then, because the alternative would be Paqueta up front, which he is back training, he should be available for.
Yep.
Or Bowen up front, So I would rather look at it, and we'll talk a little bit about what starting 11s we should do. But I think it'll make a massive difference. If he's had this time to train with the team, get an understanding, I don't see the harm in putting him in if he's fit enough.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. At the end of the day, Bowen, he come back last week. He looked good playing up top, but he's not a natural striker, And like you said, he is more suited to playing that right, coming in. We've been crying out for a striker for such a long period of time, with the injuries to Fulkrug, obviously Antonio with the car crash. We've not really had a striker again. I know we've got Danny Ings, and I think he's a little bit of a forgotten man. But when we play this three-pronged attack that we seem to want to play, it doesn't work with Danny Ings. We saw. I think it was in the Villa game before Fulkrug went off injured. We sort of had two up top. So it might be something that Potter's looking to experiment with further down the line as a plan B, so to speak, possibly. But I think with Ferguson coming in, he's going to want to prove a point. He seems to be wanting to work underground, Potter. The dilemma then comes, if he does come in, is what do we do with Kudus? Because we've seen with Kudus playing out on the left, it isn't his best. He played a big part in Bowen's goal against Chelsea. Winning the battle to get the ball and giving it to Bowen. So it's now tough dilemmas, but it's a better dilemma to have than having no striker and having to square pegs around the hole, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we've got options now. Ward-Prowse is back, in the side, and which gives us another good option in midfield, because I think that's been our problem area, the midfield. We've seen that, I think, quite a lot of the season. Teams just running through our midfield, not enough legs. He can press, and we've seen a lot of joy with our pressing game under par when we've utilised it. And he was the one player under Moyes that you could count on to press and cause a problem. We got 2 goals against Spurs from pressing, from Ward-Prowse doing that, pressing high up the pitch. So I think he would fit in quite well. I know he's not known for his pace, but he can pick out a pass, he can press off the ball, set pieces, getting them back to where they need to be. We haven't scored many this season, and a part of that is the delivery. It's not good enough. I think he gives us a good option as well. So, although whether Ward-Prowse starts, that's another thing. But striker-wise, we've been desperate for one. It's going to be tough for Ings. But look, Ings is behind midfielders when it comes to starting up top. So it won't be a surprise if someone else starts over him.
No, that's the thing. As I said, mate, I really do think his time at the club's done. But I do think he'll have a part to play between now and the end of the season. And, with the players coming back, it looks like Alvarez is going to return. Obviously, Paquetá should return. Todibo could be in the squad as well. The only real absentee that is a bit of a blow, not a bit of a blow, but one we weren't expecting, we were hoping he'd be back, is obviously Somerville, doing his hamstring, and that's going to be a big, big loss. And
I was most excited to see him come back out of everyone, including Bowen. I was just because of how good he looked against Villa under Potter. I was buzzing seeing him back, and that one's a tough one. He's so young, and I hope it's not going to be a recurring issue for him.
No, that's it, mate. And he does rely on his pace quite a lot, because his stature's quite small. But I'm the same, mate. He seemed to come into his own in that Villa game, and then to go off injured done us, massively. I think the whole dynamic of the team changed when he went off with that injury. The things that the positives for me going into this game, the defeat against Chelsea, it was a bit hard to take, the way it ended. But we was always in the game. We were creating chances for ourselves. We were never beaten, and that's something I've seen in this side since Potters took over. We don't look. We're in the game the whole time. The performances haven't all been the greatest. We've kept a few clean sheets up until half time or in the second half in games, things like that. And you are seeing the minor improvements, which is what we've needed. So there is there. And as I said, with players coming in, players coming back from injury, Potter getting a bigger squad to work with, it's going to be a good dilemma for him to have. And you talking about Ward-Prowse, great player to come in, like you said, set pieces, but with Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Paquetá, Andy Irvine didn't really do much wrong against Chelsea. Does he deserve to be dropped, or does he deserve to stay in this team?
So interested to hear you say that, Scott, because you've been telling me your boy Andy Irvine, and now you've come on board the Andy Irvine train. Yeah, and he said, did not put a foot wrong. He drifted out. I think he struggled a little bit towards the last stage of the second half, but. Yeah, I think, he hasn't had much game time. He's definitely a contender to start in this team for sure. 100%. The options that we have, I think he's got to be one of them now.
Well, this is it. You're hearing good things coming out about him in the club. The fact that he's one of the last to leave training. He's hired his own fitness coach to try and catch up with the demands of the Premier League. Because obviously he's not. This is the highest level he's ever played at. He's had a few games in Scotland. He was in Austria. I think he's been somewhere else, but this is the first time, and he wants to prove himself and give himself the best shot. And as I said, every game he's come on at the moment, he hasn't set the world alight, but he's not put a foot wrong.
No,
and he seems consistent. He doesn't try and overplay. He's not looking for that $1 million pass. He's trying to keep everything nice and tidy and simple. And sometimes I think you need that in the side. I am coming on board. He has got a role to play. Look, there are better players within that squad, but if you're putting the effort in training, and when you're on that pitch, you're not really doing much wrong, he doesn't deserve to lose his place, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it does feel like, he's giving everyone a chance, Potter. I think he's going to have to look at is tactically the matchup between our midfield and theirs, and if. Even though Irvine may deserve to keep his place, if tactically it don't match up. But overall, I'm just excited to be a West Ham fan, and we've got a lot to be optimistic about. Because I was having these discussions on Twitter. I did a video on my other channel about, when we did our event, who's got the brighter future, West Ham or Palace. And I was surprised to see some West Ham, because I think it couldn't be clearer it's West Ham, but I was surprised to see some West Ham fans say Palace, because I know we've got Sullivan, but we've had Sullivan for 15 years almost now.
Yeah.
And we've always done better than Palace. And now we've got Sullivan still, of course, but we've got an exciting manager with a plan, with a track record of, working on projects and elevating teams, with a new recruitment strategy seemingly coming in. So I think we have got a bright. Palace will always be Palace. They're not going to spend. Sullivan or not, he spent money, right? You won't get that at Palace. So I think if you give Potter the money, which he has to, look, I'm excited, mate. I'm optimistic with what we got.
Yeah, the same, mate. Yes, and Palace are one of them sides. They deserve to be in the Premier League. They're a decent side. They're a decent club. They need to rebuild one of their stands, but their ground's an old school type ground. But they are a selling club eventually. That's how they look at it. They have a cup. They always seem to get good little gems. And again, we were saying about in Friday Night Pints, saying that when you look at Brighton and sides like that, the model that they have bringing players in, Palace get some decent players in and then go on to sell them for a bit.
Even when they don't sell them, like Zaha, they managed to keep him for a long time. They not like they do anything. Do you know what I mean? They can keep their best players and they still finish max mid-table. They rarely finish top half. So, and for us, like I said, we may have David Sullivan, and that is a handicap.
Yeah.
With that handicap of David Sullivan, we are still more likely to go on to do better things than Crystal Palace. We still are a bigger club with a bigger pool. It's going to. So I was very surprised to see that. It's one of them ones. But overall, I'm excited to see now. We've had 2 weeks off essentially. I know he actually gave him a couple of days off. There was I think a few went to France. Saliba went to France, and a few other people went away. But we've had more time training under this manager for them to get on board with these ideas. More training, to get more fitness, get some players back. I want to see a performance in this game now that matches that. The expectation is going to be a little bit higher. I know it's still early doors, but I want to see that performance now that we saw against Villa in the second half of the Premier League or the first half. I want to see us on the front foot. I want to see us pressing. I want to see us moving the ball quickly. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that.
No, look, with Brentford, they've had a stop-start season by their standards. Their front line is very, very good. They've got some good quality players. The high press is going to be difficult. We've got to watch the ball in behind. But so long as we're pressing as a unit, we do look a bit more defensively sound than we did do under Lopetegui since Potter's turned up. So, that is the thing. But they are a threat. They are a threat. Up until I think the last 2 games, I think they were 5 for 5 wins against us. It is a worry. I think that could be at the London Stadium. Thinking about it,
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if you have something, but I'm sure their away record has been pretty. It's either their away record or their home record. I'm sure it's their away record has been pretty woeful this season.
Yeah. Did they just pick up? It took them a while to get that first win on the road, isn't it? So it's a tough one. But
against Spurs, and they were pretty poor against Spurs. Yeah, they lost at home.
Yeah,
but I don't think they've had many wins away.
No, and that's the thing.
Palace away, they beat that. That's what you're talking about. Palace away was that one you were talking about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They've got to, they're. I think everyone's looking at us at the minute and thinking, this is a winnable game. But, at home, we need to start getting results at home. We need to start turning the London Stadium into a place where teams don't want to come. And Brentford are a side that we owe a few to because they have got a good record against us.
Yeah.
So we've got to make sure we're on the ball. But I do think they're there to be gotten at. I really do. I like their manager. I like some of their players. But, as I said, I think now we're seeing a bit better from Potter. As I said, we do still seem to play in halves. But I do believe, so long as we can keep their front line quiet, we can get a result in this one. And if Ferguson doesn't start, I'll be comfortable with Bowen up top.
Do you know what the difference is, though, with the halves? I'm seeing less of a drastic contrast between the quality of halves where, say like under Lopetegui, we'd be really terrible in one half and better in another half. In this game, we'll be okay, maybe not so good in one half, but then maybe brilliant in the other half. So it's an improvement in performances in both halves. Like has gone up. Our overall performance is much better, I think. Apart from, I think we put the Palace aside, was just generally bad, the Palace performance. But again, what we're dealing with and we're seeing with injuries this season, not just for us, for so many teams, it's insane the level of injuries that are coming out for teams. You know, we've seen Havertz has done his hamstring and torn his hamstring and he's out for the season, and Jackson and so many players and Spurs. But we you know, to come in and what he's had to pick up the pieces to Potter and how quickly we've started to see improvements. We didn't see this for 6 months under Lopetegui. This level up where you can put your finger on and say, oh, do you know what? Like, maybe weren't great, but I saw something there. I saw something I could put my finger on and say, oh, that was good. Look at that pressing we did there. Look how we moved the ball. Look how much organised we look at defensively. Even if we haven't won. You know, Chelsea, we came away from that. We didn't win. We felt done by. And we put positives on it.
Yeah, and this is the thing, mate. There's a lot more positives to take since Potter has been on board than there was under Lopetegui. And they said we screamed for an identity. We still haven't found our identity under Potter, but you can see the you know, the little sprouts of this identity coming through.
Yeah, I think we haven't got to see that consistency from where, like, week to week you can see, okay, this is West Ham. But I think we're as close to getting that identity as we've been, you know, in a long time. Which is what I like. And listen, I'm really looking forward. I'm confident. I never like feeling confident because then that's where disappointment comes in, and like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I'm going to let myself feel it, and that's how I always be honest how I feel, and I feel confident going into this game with the players that we have available. You know, Bowen, you know what a difference he makes, him coming in, and just the chances. You know, you create chances, which we do with under Potter. Potter teams generally create a lot of chances. You need the players to finish it. And the thing that me and you criticised him early on, Scott, was his finishing. And he has put that to bed.
Exactly.
Because he's probably the best finisher in the team. He is the best finisher in the team.
Listen, mate, this could be a big day for Bowen. He could potentially get his 50th Premier League goal for the club. But he only is the second player, I think it is, to get 50 Premier League goals for West Ham. You know, that's a big achievement, a big achievement, you know, and he's still got a good few more years to go. So, you know, he could push himself right up there and overtake Antonio as our leading goal scorer.
It's not that long ago, and it's like London buses, isn't it? Look how long we waited for Antonio to break the Canio's record, and then not that long after, Bowen comes on and breaks his record.
Yeah, that's it. So, you know, this is good. It's good for the club. You know, I said Bowen's still got a long to go with his contract. So, you know, let's hope he can get himself back in the England squad and get himself pushing again and get a few more goals and, you know, become that all-time record Premier League goal scorer for us. That's what we want to see. But going into this game, Dan,
I want to see a player. I'll just say this. I want to see a player eventually do 100. Like, we need that.
I'd love that. Love that.
We need that.
Do you know what? To be fair, I'd love it to be him as well.
Yeah, so would I. Would I.
Because he does. He has really took. I know. Obviously, having a father-in-law like Danny Dyer, you've got to take the club on board. But, you know, he really has done that. He really has took the club on board, and you can tell he enjoys playing for the club, and, you know, it means a lot to him. And no doubt scoring, if he gets that 50th Premier League goal, that would mean so much to him as a player. You know, being the family that, you know, he's married or he's engaged into, whatever it is. I can never remember whether he's engaged or married, but it'll mean a lot to him, you know, and it's what we want to see. You know, he's someone who understands the club. So, yeah, I hope he gets it tomorrow. It'd be a great one, especially being at home as well. But, what you thinking starting 11 and prediction-wise, mate?
This is a tough one, you know. This is off the top of my head, starting 11. Areola in goal. Emerson left wing back. Then if Tadebo's, so let me go on it. Tadebo's been training, I've been hearing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with. Do you know what? Creswell's actually been all right. He's not pulled up any trees, but in that back three, if I have to pick one fullback to go in that back three, I'm picking him over Soufal. I think Soufal's been a little bit of a liability at times. So I'm going Creswell, Kilman, Tadebo. in that back three. Wan-Bissaka right wing back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going for a midfield Alvarez, Paqueta.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, I don't want to do that, do I? And I just realised then, Kudus is going to have to go out on the left.
Yep.
No, not necessarily, because you have Kudus maybe sort of in front. You got the wing backs anyway, so we haven't got all that. So he can be sort of, he'll be drifting in anyway, and he'll be covered by Emerson because Emerson's a wing back. Okay, so Kudus, Bowen, Ferguson. That's what I'm going off the top of my head.
That's a good shout, mate. That is a good shout. I wouldn't rush to Evo back in. You know, I'd probably start with the similar back five to what we saw against Chelsea. If he goes for a back five, I'd like to see us go for a back four, but I don't really want to see Mavropanos starting, to be honest. Especially against the strike force that Brentford have got. So
why do you want to see us go for a back four? Explain that.
Just to give us a bit more in the midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez came back fully fit, Ward-Prowse being available. I think it just gives us a few more options, but also then that gives you the possibility of putting Ferguson up front with Bowen on the right, Paquetá on the left, and Kudus playing in the 10. Yeah. So and then you can have them three swapping around, but trying to play up and around with Füllkrug. A bit like how we did, not Füllkrug, sorry, Ferguson. A bit like how we did with Füllkrug as we started against Villa. Having the players up close to him. And that's what I want to see. And I just think going forward at the back, that gives us that opportunity. Because as we know, Alvarez coming into the midfield, he could sit in as a third centre-back. So I think a lot of it depends on Tadebo's fitness. But, if you're going for the five, I go for a similar five to what you saw against Chelsea.
So Soufal, Kilman,
and Criswell. Yeah, if Tadebo's not fully fit.
Mavropanos came off the bench, didn't he?
Yeah, he come on. Yeah, he's back available after suspension, but I just think he needs a run out of the side. To be honest, really do.
Yeah, so, yeah. He's so what are you saying? Them that five and then
that five. So no, so what? That five.
What are you gonna do? 4 or 5? So you're doing
right,
5.
So if we're saying Tadebo's fit, I'm going Emerson, Kilman, Tadebo, Wan-Bissaka, Alvarez, Souček. Got to make sure I've got enough players here. Bowen right, Paquetá left, Kudus in the 10, Ferguson up top.
You bottle job. All that you gave about Andy Irving, right? Oh, he should keep his place. I'm going to say that. You've just abandoned him already.
Listen, there's better players available. There's no disrespect to him.
What was all that about deserving to keep his place?
He does deserve to keep his place. I'm not saying he doesn't. I wouldn't pick him.
I really was about for. All right, he's going to put in Irving here. He's going to put Irving in the midfield.
No, sorry. Shame. But if we go to 5 at the back, he's got a chance. But I just think with Paquetá being back, Alvarez being back, we need points on the board. And, they no disrespect to him, they are better players. And, for me, that's you pick your best 11.
I'm really, going to be looking forward to seeing that starting 11. I think it's going to be a very hard one to predict. This starting 11 with the players are going to back see who's going to be fit enough to start, who maybe going to be on the bench. I'm really intrigued to see that, to be honest. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, listen, I think now under Potter, I'm a bit more excited to go over to London Stadium.
Yeah. Exactly.
Under Lopetegui, it started to become mature under Moyes. Under Lopetegui, it was a right chore. But I'm actually looking forward to going there Saturday. Really, really am looking forward to going there. And I haven't said that in a while.
Bit of belief, and we can see a good performance. And now we've got players back available where, Fulham and Palace at home, we really struggled with the lineup we could put out. We've actually got a striker now. I know we had Ings, but look, it's Ings.
We've actually got a striker that fits the system.
Fits the system. He can do more than what Ings can, and he's young as well. We've got some younger players. We have such an old team, and so we've got some legs up front.
Yeah,
so it's exciting. And if he gets a fucking goal in his first game, we'll be buzzing. But yeah, I think I feel like it's going to be 3-1 West Ham. I can see it.
As much as I'd love us to keep a clean sheet, I don't think we will. And
step too far, yeah.
Yeah, I think we will win. I think it'll be a 2-1 win this week. Really do.
2-1, yeah.
I'm going for Bowen to score at any time.
I'm going to say Bowen, Ferguson, Paqueta. Paqueta under Potter has been something else. We really missed him against Chelsea. I think if we had Paqueta, we'd win that game, despite of the cheating officials.
Mate, that's the thing. There's been a lot of it. We I think over the past week we could have done a video talking about dodgy officiating. It was some of the officiating we've seen in the past 2 weeks. It's been diabolical. So, but yeah, that's something for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan, thank you very much for joining me, mate. All using the chat feature. We don't normally read the chat out on this. It's more safe for Friday night.
We read it, but we don't read it out loud.
Yeah.
So we do pay attention to it, but we don't break up the flow of the preview.
That's it. But thank you everyone in the chat for coming along and watching us. Make sure you check out everything else we've got coming up with the build up to Brentford. We will be back on Friday with Friday Night Pint. Then we're at the game Saturday, hopefully doing a post-match pint after we finish all the fan cams. And I will be back to build up towards the Arsenal game next week. But Dan,
content.
Yeah, always a pleasure, mate. Just one thing left to say.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.